Morning everyone and welcome back to the vlog. We're currently on our way to Shieldaig on Scotland's stunning west coast, travelling through Glen Torridon. It's rained most of the way, but there's been the odd break in the clouds. Now don't forget to enter our competition to win a tripod and limited edition print. Full details on how to enter in the last episode of the vlog. I'll put a link below. Now tell us about Torridon, Andy.
So as we've come down through Glen Torridon, I've started to notice that some of the hills and mountains have started to get that sort of red colour to them, and that's the red sandstone, Torridon red sandstone that's in the hills there, which some of the rock actually is some of the oldest in the world. And on the tops of the hills there we've got quartzite, which reflects the light as you're coming down through here and gives the mountains that sort of look as if they've got snow on them, all year round, but it's actually the quartzite that's reflecting the light. Beautiful and really distinctive for this area. So back in the 17th century, a lot of these lower slopes would have been covered in oak forests, but they used the oak to produce charcoal to melt the iron ore that they pulled up from Loch Mari. And of course, that's left a lot of these areas barren, and a lot of the reason why rewilding is going on now up in Scotland to bring back some of these natural forests.
Changing fast.
So I've just pulled over in the camper van, and this wee burn that we were just driving past caught my eye. But in particular, this rowan tree that is in sort of full bloom, is covered in berries, and sweeps out across the falls here. But I'm definitely taking one for the team because the midge are absolutely horrendous. There's no breeze, it's very damp, and I'm just absolutely swarming in them. So it's going to be a quick shot, I think, to get this, and but hopefully it will make a nice scene. I'm going to carry on up the other side of the burn a wee bit because there's some other trees. You can see in the distance there's that nice sort of old tree sat in the backdrop. But I'm going to see if I can get this one first, put on my 70 to 200mm lens, capture some of those beautiful berries that are coming down over the falls, and then we'll see how we go. This is the third attempt at trying to start the vlog. We started off up in Glen Torridon, but the midge was so bad. The midge nets that you have over your head, they do work, they keep the midge off, but actual visibility is pretty poor. So trying to take pictures and photograph with it on and the camera surrounded a midge. And then the second time we headed up to a waterfall, but again, same problem. So what we've done is we've come out onto the coast here where there's always a bit of a breeze. We've got some breaks in the weather. And as I said earlier, it's about adapting to your environment and just putting yourself in a position that you can still be out there, still enjoy it, still get the camera out, and never give up. You can see just over my right-hand shoulder there, the small village of Shieldaig, which is just sat on the water's edge. It's a really beautiful, picturesque area. The campsite is just up behind it, just above the village there, and gives you a really beautiful view out over the bay. So I just had one of those frantic moments where you spot a scene and you're desperate to get there while the light is good. I'm still on the coast. I'm just, the bay's just to the left of me there, but just walking along the edge of the coast, just looked up into the hills and saw this lone pine sat between these two rocks with this beautiful patch of heather just to the side of it. And we've had some really dark, stormy clouds coming up behind it, and every now and again the light just captures the tree. So what I've done is, first of all, I've put on the long lens, the 70 to 200mm lens, got a sort of position that I think is okay. I'm trying to capture that patch of heather in the front there with the tree behind. I'm almost putting the tree dead central with the sort of big sky behind it. But what I am going to do is, when I've taken this shot and know that I've got something there, I'm then going to put on my 28 to 70mm lens and actually move up a little bit closer so that I can sort of get in a little bit tighter, maybe for a square crop of the actual tree itself with some of that nice heather by the side of it. But the first thing was to make sure I had the image first. The light's really cracking off behind in the hills. And so what I want to do is, we've just got some dark stormy clouds coming over. So what I'm going to do is take this shot and then move up a little bit closer. As I say, put on the smaller lens, and then I'll show you what I'm looking at on the back of the camera. Okay, so I've changed position and I've come a little bit closer round to the tree. I tried the 24 to 70mm lens, but it really just made it look just that too far off into the distance. So I've gone back to the 70 to 200. And I'll show you on the back of the camera here what I'm looking at. So you can see fairly basic composition. I've positioned the tree dead center of my image, but what I'm trying to do is give myself equal amounts of land as I've got of sky to help balance the image, because I mean, it really is. There's a lot of sky there. It's got a little bit of detail as it comes across. There's a few dark clouds, but it's not incredibly interesting. But I do like that juxtaposition of the sky balanced against the actual land below with the tree dead center. It really does help to balance out the image. So I'm just waiting now for some of that sky to come across and then it to get a bit of light behind, to see if we can bring out some of the colour in that beautiful heather that you can see is just coming down on the left-hand side there, which really is just adding a nice little dab of colour into the image. And it's a really beautiful sort of Scots pine that's just on its own up here on the hill. Really is a beautiful image. So I'm going to take this shot and then head back down onto the coast again, see if we can get some coastal scenes. But anyway, I'll wait for the light, and here's the image.
So I've come along the coastline here just to this wee peninsula, and you can see behind me we've got upper Loch Torridon with the mountains looking majestic behind, just catching the light there. And then just in front of me is Loch Shieldaig, and they kind of meet around this peninsula. So you really do get the best of both worlds. We've got the beautiful inlet of Loch Shieldaig there, and then just on the other side we've got upper Loch Torridon too, and it really is beautiful. The weather's just starting to clear, just starting to dry out a little bit, which always makes you feel a little bit better, and I'm just watching that light for some beautiful evening sky.
Talking about setting yourself a challenge to get a photograph. It's not easy getting down there. I've set the tripod up first and then brought the camera down afterwards. But you can probably see from this rock, it's really caught my eye. We've got some beautiful colours, shapes and textures coming through here. The sun's sort of coming down. It's later on in the evening. And what I'm hoping to do is capture some of this rock coming over, but with this water lapping up below. I've got a 6-stop neutral density filter with polarizer, spit that out. And hopefully really to sort of give myself a nice long exposure so I can capture that water lapping up. I'm sorry about if there's wind noise on the mic, but that light is just beautiful. You can see it now just coming and lighting up the side of this rock. It really is quite stunning. So anyway, I'll set up the camera and show you what I'm looking at. So I'll show you what I'm looking at on the back of the camera. It's a bit of a wacky composition, but it's very off balanced, which is difficult to work with. We've got this beautiful rock face, and I mean, it'd be nice to take some head-on shots just showing the textures in themselves. That'd be nice, but I'm trying to capture this curve. So on the back of the camera, you can see that basically what I've done is I've positioned the lower rocks so that they come out of the bottom right of my composition here. They're sort of coming up from the right out. And where the water meets the bottom of the rocks, I've positioned that centrally within my image with the colours of the rocks up on the right-hand side. You can see I've drastically lost the light. So I really need to just sit balanced and wait for that to come through. I'm using a 6-stop ND filter with polarizer to really slow the motion of the water and to smooth that out, because I don't want the textures of the water and the waves to compete with the textures of the rock face itself. There's some beautiful colours and tones in here. You know, it'd be lovely if I had something on the left-hand side to really sort of balance the image, but I don't. But I don't want to come away without taking the shot. So I'm hoping that actually those sort of lead-in lines with the rocks from the bottom right in will work with the lapping water, but it totally needs that light, which should be behind me now, hitting the rock, and I've lost it behind the clouds. So I'll wait. It's always a waiting game, and eventually I'll get there, and when I do, here's the image. So it's the following day, I'm back down on Loch Shieldaig, and a lovely afternoon. We've got some cloud cover with the sun that keeps breaking through. And what I'm doing is I'm taking a shot with these beautiful rocks that are just in the foreground here, that are just lapping against the water. And then every now and again, this sort of bit of rock that jets out catches the light, which really shows off that red sandstone beautifully. You can just see it now, just touching the edge of that rock. It's a little bit bright, but when the cloud comes over, it diffuses it nicely. And then we've got that backdrop of hills behind, which again just catches the light. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to wait so that there's light on my sort of middle ground, this bit of rock that jets out, but not so much light on the rocks in the foreground, because I don't want those to just draw the eye in and then you're just focused on those rocks on the water. I really want your eye to be drawn through. So a bit of light on that midsection and the background with some light in the hills would be absolutely perfect. And it does seem to do that as the clouds roll over. The light does move with it. So, and I'm shooting on my 70 to 200 millimeter lens, and I've got a 6-stop ND filter with polarizer just to soften the water. There's some beautiful aqua colors in that water. And with the polarizer, it really sort of knocks back the reflections and you can see the rocks underneath. Beautiful clear water, really is stunning. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll get into position, set up the camera, and I'll show you what I'm looking at on the back of the screen. So you can see we've got these rocks in the foreground here. Just in the front there. I took a shot earlier on and the tide was just slightly higher up, so it actually separated the rocks a little bit better, which you'll see in the image afterwards. But you can see how the light is just capturing that mid-ground there with that beautiful colour of Torridon red sandstone going through the middle of it. And then you can see behind how the light is just touching on those hills. So I'm just waiting. You can see I've got a polarizer on, so you can see just how much it knocks back the reflection in that water, really sort of revealing what's behind it underneath. And we've got that beautiful aqua colour that is coming through there. The tide's going out fairly quickly, so I'm glad I took that shot before I started doing the filming, because it's dropped quite considerably. But what I'm trying to do is get a little bit of light on that ground behind there, and then right in the background a bit of light on the hills. But I don't want the light on these stones on the foreground, because I say your eye will just get drawn into them, and then it won't be pulled into that beautiful stunning rock feature behind. There's the light's just capturing the trees that are moving just a little bit in the wind there. So I'm gonna just wait a bit, but as I say, I've already got the image, so I'm not too worried about waiting for the light now. But and as I said, the tide was up higher, so these rocks behind just here were actually separated from the ones in front of them, just to give it a little bit of separation, which was really nice. But anyway, enough waffling, and I'll show you the image that I managed to get before I started filming. So the light's just about gone now. So what I've done is I've come down to this rock again, where we've got this beautiful texture of red sandstone, grey rock behind with some quartzite just coming through in some places. So I'm just going to work my way up and down. I've got my 70 to 200 millimeter lens on. I can't go macro because I can't get close enough without disappearing off down this water gully here. So anyway, I'm just going to work my way up and down. I'm shooting on f8 around about ISO 320, And well, here's a few of those images. So I think that's it for today. I'm really losing the light, but it's been absolutely stunning on the coast here, just working away along some of the rock features. Hopefully we've come away with a few nice images. It's always difficult at this time of the day working in late afternoon because the light can be quite strong. But when you're on the west coast, you work with what you've got, and it is absolutely beautiful. We've had some seals just off on the coast. We've had some herons going by, and it really is an absolute stunning location. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Sorry if it's been a bit all over the place. Started in the Glen, ended up on the coast. Who knows what we'll end up with, but I hope you enjoy watching it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.
Changing fast.